Hello, everyone. Welcome to Thai Global Summit. Our session today is focused on digital healthcare, startup pitches, and thought leadership. During this session, you will hear from 5 startups that are creating solutions in the digital health space. And we have 5 investors that will be providing valuable feedback to these startups. In addition, we have a panel session where these investors will discuss the future of healthcare. To open this session, I have Mark Martin Casas from the Illumina Accelerator in San Francisco. Illumina Accelerator is the first business accelerator committed to supporting startups in genomics. They're currently located in the US and the UK, and they're very interested in the startup ecosystem in India. They're funded by the genomic sequencing company Illumina, and 2 of their genomic startups are from India. Mark Martin Casas manages seed investments and venture development at the Illumina Accelerator. Mark is a biotechnologist by training and has a PhD in computational biology. Please join me in welcoming Mark as he tells us a little bit about accelerating genomic startups and what makes Illumina excited about India. Over to you, Mark.
Thank you very much, Dipti. Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. It's very nice to be here. I'm very excited. I think it's a great engine of innovation, and we're very excited at Illumina and at Lumen Accelerator to be part of this event and being able to showcase what we do. I have a few slides to kind of just walk you through what we do at the accelerator and a little bit about our Indian companies as well. And you'll see that they're very passionate. They're very mission driven, and that's what makes us so excited about the Indian ecosystem as well. So without further ado, I'm going to be sharing my slides. Hopefully you'll be able to see them. Let's see. So here it is. So Lumen Accelerator, as Dipti was mentioning, and thank you so much, Dipti, for having us and for inviting us here. Lumen Accelerator is the first business accelerator committed to building breakthrough genomic startups. As Dipti was mentioning, we have 2 locations in the SF Bay Area, as well as Cambridge, the UK. We're planning on expanding soon to the APAC region as well. And we're particularly excited about the Indian ecosystem because, as I was saying, I think that there's a huge amount of talent and innovation happening in that ecosystem. We invest in up to 10 companies per year per location, and we are a global accelerator. That means that we're interested in investing in many different geographies, companies from all over the world at different stages as well. So the key things that we provide at the Lumen Accelerator, we like to provide access to capital, and that's through seed stage VC deals. We partner with seed stage VCs that will be able to put in money into the companies upon their acceptance into our accelerator. We also offer sequencing capabilities as well as sequencing expertise. We obviously have within Illumina a lot of experts that are able to provide insight to the startups. And even if it's a digital health startup, we're able to provide that ability to garner and gather proprietary data sets that can be used to build a moat around their data and around their algorithms. And I'm going to be able to give an example later about this. The third thing that we provide is coaching. So we have an extensive network of people, but we also have a dedicated network of people within Illumina that are able to help our startups, and that includes our CTO, who used to be head of research at Grail, and also we involve the C-level executives at Illumina in making sure that the companies are well supported during their journey. And finally, we give a facility as well, a lab and office space to the companies that are accepted. So what do we invest in? What are we interested in? So here you can see a little pie chart about the types of companies that we've invested in the past. You can see about half of our companies are in therapeutics, about a quarter in diagnostics, diagnostics, and the remainder is synthetic biology, consumer, as well as software. We're particularly interested in software and consumer. We want to grow our share of investments in those areas. And that's why I think this session is particularly interesting to us as well. We've invested in the 6 years that we've been around. We have invested in 45 genomics companies. That means 12 funding cycles. Each funding cycle is 6 months long. And those collectively have raised nearly $600 million, and we've had a couple of acquisitions. So we're happy about that track record. In terms of diversity, about half of our companies co-founders are female. So we're very happy about that. And obviously we have a long ways to go as well in terms of representing female CEOs and increasing that share to parity as well. And finally, we have, as I said, a location in the SF Bay Area, as well as a location in Cambridge, UK. And I'd be very happy to chat about any of these companies to any person that is interested, and be able to share my contact information as well. So who are the 2 Indian companies that we have in our portfolio? I'm very excited about them because they're extremely mission driven. They're very passionate about what they do, and they're rarely daunted by the huge problems that they're actually facing. So the first one is Arogya AI. Prapti and Avalokita founded this company last year. And their goal is actually to tackle one of the main issues in India and the world as well, which is antimicrobial resistance. As you might know, we're facing a pandemic currently. People seem to think that the next pandemic will be a multi-drug resistant organism, because we don't have enough antibiotics and we don't have enough tools in our kit in order to deal with such infections. So what they're doing is actually precisely tackling that, starting with TB in India, which is the place where there's the most incidents. And what they're doing is they're combining artificial intelligence with whole genome sequencing of patient samples in order to be able to determine how the pathogens are evolving over time, as well as how a patient is going to respond to a particular drug. So by doing that and by applying their artificial intelligence, they're able to prescribe the right medication at the right time, thwarting this pathogen evolution that we're talking about. Huge problem. They're super committed, and they're amazing founders. The second company that I wanted to highlight from our portfolio, they were actually our first Indian company ever last year. And so we learned a lot about the ecosystem. We learned a lot about Indian entrepreneurship through them. So we're eternally grateful to them for that. And it's for base care. So Hitesh and Chitij, they joined us last year. And what they're doing is a little bit different in the oncology space. But they're also gathering, using their artificial intelligence as well as databases combined with genomics in order to be able to help oncology patients in India. As you might know, there's a lot of precision oncology benefits that have been developed in, say, like the US or Europe, where there's electronic health records available. But in India, the huge barrier to entry to companies like Roche was the lack of such records in a unified system. So what they did is they empowered patients. They developed this app where patients can actually gather their electronic health records, including their genetic information. And that allows doctors to be able to prescribe the right oncology medication at the right time. And as you can see, they're partnering with a ton of hospitals. They're super hungry to be able to help more people and get to more hospitals and more clinics as well. So I hope that I was able to tell you a little bit more about the accelerator. We have 2 cycles a year. We're always happy to talk to everyone, even if, we're happy to help and try to help companies in our space try to get to the US, or even like we are trying to get to India at some point as well. So we want to learn from you all, and we want you guys to learn as well from us. So Dipti, thank you so much for inviting us. It's a pleasure to be here at Thai Global, and enjoy the session. I'm super excited to hear from these entrepreneurs.
That was so interesting. I really love the 2 Indian companies that you showcased, and I'm really looking forward to the day when we grow that from 2 to 20. So all those entrepreneurs out there that are doing some genomics work, look out for Lumen Accelerator, write to them, and hopefully we'll look forward to seeing you there. Next up, what we want to do in the session is showcase 5 digital health startups from India. They will have the opportunity to pitch their product for 5 minutes. And following the presentation, they will have a 4-minute feedback and investment advice from our panel of investors. Before we get started with the pitches, I would like to introduce the investors to you. First up, we have Vineet Patni from Thai Pune.
I've been in banking and insurance for a little over 20 years now, 10 different markets, which includes Asia, Middle East. But in addition, I'm an active investor as well as represent quite a few large corporations in different parts of the world who have interest in the space of healthcare, insurance, and banking. So that's my quick introduction, Dipti. Thank you.
Thank you, Vineet. Next up, we have Amit Mukim from Thai Mumbai.
Hi, good morning, good evening, everyone. This is Amit here. It's a pleasure to be here. Mark, thank you for the fantastic overview. I'm based in Mumbai, and I'm the president for Thai in Mumbai. My profession otherwise is in healthcare, and I manage the India business of a company called IQVIA, which is a global healthcare research, data, and technology organization. I've been in the space for mentoring, investing, and supporting healthcare entrepreneurship, and also advise the National Health Authority on innovation. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit. Next up, thank you, Amit. Next up, we have Jesse Danjal from Thai, New Jersey.
Thank you, Dipti, for the introduction. Hello, my name is Jesse Danjal. I am from Thai, New Jersey. I have been very active in the digital health space for the past 17 years now going. And I have been part of many startups and actively part of some right now. I had some exits in the past, and I'm very actively involved with startups, and assisting them in their growth journey. My focus has mostly been the software side of the healthcare space, not much on the medical devices side, but that kind of, I'm learning a lot from all the startups as well and connecting the dots. So I'm very excited to be here. Thank you, Dipti, very much.
Welcome. And finally, it's me, Dipti Desai from Thai Silicon Valley. To just give you a little bit about my background, it's in genomics, cancer research, and digital health. I'm a venture partner for Elevate Capital. This VC firm was founded by Vineet Rai, who also founded Thai Global Angels. We are an inclusive venture capital fund that serves the underserved entrepreneur. Our investment thesis focuses on startups that are founded by women and minorities, and 25% of the investment is in healthcare. So we have approximately 80 million in total investment and have funded about 40 plus startups for a market cap of greater than 200 million. For more information, you can visit our website, elevate.dc. And I wanted to add one more fun fact that all 4 of us here also co-chair an initiative by Thai Global called Thai Global Health, and where we have a number of charter members that are also investors in this area, and startups and mentors, advisors, and we gather monthly to discuss healthcare. So that's a fun fact about the 4 of us here. That's how we got to know each other. So moving on to our startups. Now, they will be putting up their presentation as I provide their 30-second introduction. Each of our startups will have about 5 minutes to present. After their presentation, our investor panel will provide valuable feedback to them in 3 to 4 minutes. And further interactions can happen after the session based on mutual availability between the investor and the startups. We have Embright. Embright is a technology-driven company that uses VR, AR, AI, and IoT-based technology to develop therapy modules for patients with autism. Sathya Narayan from Embright will present their startup solution to our panel of investors. Thank you, Sathya Narayan. Can you please
Thank you,
present?
ma'am. Thank you for the opportunity. Please, the presentation, I can start off with a pitch deck. Just hold on. All right. So my name is Sathya, and I'm CEO and co-founder of Embright Infotech. We are a 3-year-old startup company based in Bangalore under NASCOM Bangalore, and also we based in Kerala Startup Mission as well. So we got a BIRAC award in the last year, and we are a ST technology driven company where we develop ST technology products, and so our focus area is into the cerebral palsy, autism, and mental retardation, learning disability sectors. So we actually provide the technology like XR. XR stands for extended reality. We combine the technology using different algorithm where how we can able to identify the kids issues, like kids who having problems like cognitive issues, and also their communication issues, their and behavioral issues as well. So we engage with the different hospitals, national institutions like NIMHANS and IPMR, and already 50 institutions we are engaged with it right now. And we introduced a product called Care in 2019. Next slide. So here you can see.
Next slide,
Next
please.
slide, please, ma'am. Here you can see ASD. ASD stands for Autism Spectrum Disorder, where 2 million people are affected in India alone, and our global ratio is coming 159. So here we identify different institutions which actually taking care of these kids actually need a really quality training and therapy as well. So they have to get diagnosed first, and also they need a proper intervention on period wise based on the performance. So they have a specific training module like API, applied behavior analysis, and they have different tools. They use low tech AST technology tools they use as well. But there is no data capture system to know about what is the exact state of the kid, how long they need a training as well. So early intervention is really important for the kids who are actually affected with autism. And we actually come across with the right innovation solution where XR stands for extended reality. We use a virtual reality module to give them a cognitive ability enhancing therapy module in a virtual reality 360-degree environment. Is a 3D CG environment as well. So basically it's teach colors, shapes, and size, and also avatar interaction as well. Next slide, please, ma'am. So these are the set of pain points we identify, like delay in time taking and diagnosis, restriction conversion mode of therapies, and also the lack of productivity of patient behavior data. So our system actually capture the data while they're doing the diagnosis, and capture data while in the basically like reaction time. We actually have the eye tracking sensors to identify the kids attention span, and EEG sensors to know about their emotional aspects. So while they're interacting or getting in this intervention, we can identify that, we can capture their all sort of data, which helps the therapist to identify what sort of problem they have and how long they require the therapy. Next, ma'am. So these are set of virtual reality scenarios we developed with the help of doctors. We validated these scenarios and see how efficiently it's helpful for the kids to engage with, and their attention span is more increased while we seeing they're engaging in the virtual environments. And we have a hand tracking sensors like leap motions, and we actually are having our inbuilt systems as well to know about how what are the sort of motor movements, motor skill movement as well, how the improvement is happening. So these are the major content basically we providing cognitive skill development contents, social skill development, and self-skilling development. Ma'am, next slide. So this is a typical model look like. We uses all good standard headgears like HTC Vive or Oculus as well, where it actually gives a standalone and also with the high end machine as well. You can use it. So next slide, ma'am. So these are the areas that we actually focus in the auto communication disorder, learning disability, ASD, and cerebral palsy. Next slide, ma'am. These are major, areas like VR, basically a VR-based therapy module. BCI stands for brain-computer interface, which used to diagnose the, the patients, and also the data is being completely captured in our AI-based behavioral performance data cloud on the cloud, which actually HIPAA compliance, where the data has been completely secured. So the productivity difference we identified: traditional diagnosis takes an average one week to identify, where our system using a CAR scale and ESA scale takes 45 minutes. Ma'am, next slide, please. So this is our technology, flow look like. Next slide. So these are major benefits. Next slide. So these are the impact. Why Articare? How it can be impact in with the families, individuals, and with the nation. So it's a socially relevant product where companies can take it as a CSR product and take it up. So that's our next marketing aspect that we're looking forward. Next slide, please, ma'am. So our product actually have a patent where we already introduced a patent. Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Next slide. So we did a clinical validation and regulatory roadmap where we using the our set of studies and clinical trials as well. Next slide, please, ma'am. So this is what we identify with VR and without VR. What is the difference happening? Where with VR or with 100 kids, where we identified like behavioral patterns, cognitive components, social responsibility, emotions, sensory and speech, all sort of things can be identified in one single system. Where with the normal without VR, a direct intervention can identify only 3 different components. Next slide, please, ma'am. So this is a improvement we identify with VR, how much improvement happening in their intervention. So we divide the studies into baseline version, rehearsal version 1, 2, 3, and 4, where rehearsal version 4 actually stands with the real life scenario where they're doing a particular task in a virtual scenario where they're picking up apple and putting in the basket. They are matching the colors as well. So figure ground exercise, the clinical exercise used to do with all the clinics as well. So we identify there are the substantial improvement happening while a virtually simulated environment. Next slide, please, ma'am. So these are our products, different models look like Articare Lite, Articare Starters, and Standard and Premium, where especially used for to B2B, customers, and B2C customers for Articare Lite, where it can be, it's a SaaS model where they can extended be used in the home as well. Next slide, please, ma'am. So these are the market size look like where we actually engage with multiple channels like direct channel, partnership, and franchise as well. And we are targeted into different association, governments, clinics, special education schools, and parents as well. So our current customers are NIPM, Kerala Social Security Mission in under Government of Kerala. Next slide, please, ma'am. So far, our revenues comes touch around 1.2 crore in INR. So and also we have sold around 15 units so far, and number of engagement with the clinics are 50, and 100 plus therapies we already done. Next slide, please, ma'am. So this is a competitive analysis look like where we identified really competitive products are coming across the world, and where compared to our product where we actually have a biosensor sensors like eye tracking, EEG, and FNIR, where it will be clinical validated sensors and which capture the in their emotional aspect, their attention span, and also we can identify their different the levels of cognitive developments. So when compared to other competitors, they're having game-based therapies like Exa Health, Fluorotech having a mobile-based VR units, but we have a very sophisticated, high-quality photorealistic environments. Next slide, please, ma'am. So this is our next plan, like a milestone, where we're looking for to engage in the UAE and US as well. We have to get through the FDA regulation aspects. So see, we adding more scenarios and certification and getting certified from the clinics as well. And our next expansion within 9 months is to in UAE, Africa as well. Next slide, please. So far we funded with Nidhi Prayas and Bayrak, where 50 lakhs and 10 lakhs as well, and Bootstrap. Recently we received another 75 lakhs in our in from IIM Kozhikode. It's a seed funding as well. Next slide, please, ma'am. So this is our next requirement, looking for a 3 CR, which is 0.5 million USD, and looking forward to put forward in the utilization of this plan. Next slide, please, ma'am. So this is our achievements. We got our highest innovation award and also best startup award from the Government of Kerala. Next slide, please. And these are our data providers and also IT partners who help in. And also our papers have been presented in INSA, is International Society for Autism Research. And our data providers like National Trust Rehabilitation Council of India. And we're looking forward to engage with other countries as well in the same manner. Next slide, please. These are our development teams. We have doctors, neurologists, psychologists, occupation therapists, and clinical linguistics. So we getting a hardware mentor from HTC Vive directly, and we have Unity developers, AI developers, 3D modelers as well, and we have research fellows as well, where to take data from the clinics. Next slide, please. So this is our team look like. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Sathya Narayan.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a long presentation. I know you went really rapidly. I hope our investors had the ability to hear you clearly. Let me see if they have any questions or comments or any inputs for you. Amit or Vineet, Jesse, any of you?
So Sathya Narayan, does your product require FDA clearance?
In US, yes. Basically, we already engage with different hospitals. They like to take it up in US as well, and for helping us for doing the clinical trials. So under FDA, it comes under digital health.
Okay, is it a class 2 device?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
Okay. And are you already in the process of getting that class 2 certification, FDA clearance?
That's what we're looking for, the funding aspect. Currently, we are engaged with the UAE Health Authority, and we're looking forward to our next milestone look like to get into the US market.
Okay.
Sathya, thank you for this. This is Amit here. Yeah, I didn't catch it while you were presenting, but I have two questions. One is based on the other companies you talked about.
Yes, sir.
What is the level of clinical efficacy and outcomes that you have benchmarked yourself against? That's number one. And number two, linked to that, and again, maybe I didn't catch it, is what amount of clinical evidence data have you generated so far in your current roadmap? If you can share that, please, as well.
Sure, ma'am. Can you just go to the slides? I just can. We did a clinical trials with the different national institution, which is approved by Government of India as well, and Rehabilitation Council of India, where we did a clinical trials with the kids of 100 member kid. I mean, kids who are having autism level of 3, where the kids starting age of 6+, and we identified that there's a progress happening within 1.5 months. So we did a 45 minutes per day exposure to the VR headgear, and we tried one of the interventions, which basically a figure ground exercise. That's a typical exercise usually the clinics do, and identifying how the matching, color matching, or whether they have a cognitive ability, gross motor skills as well. So that collectively we get a scoring where based on the ISA scale and CAR scale too, and we evaluated over the period of 1.5 months. And there is a substantial difference happening, by comparing with the traditional, therapy and with the virtually simulated environment. We have the complete data, sir.
Thank you, Sathya.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I actually had a question. I noticed that you have only about 10 or 12 units sold into the market. So wanted to know, what is the blockage? Is there a product market fit issue, or is it a go-to-market strategy issue, or where is the challenge, or is it just that you're looking for funding before you can enter the market further?
Yes. So basically, this product is completely we sold it for the clinics, where clinics actually comes or have there around 30 to 40 kids who are coming daily as well. And one day with one unit, almost 8 to 9 kids can engage in one unit. And one of the tenders actually took around 2 units as well. So that's as a pilot project. We actually got one purchase order from the government of Kerala, where they're actually introducing to 112 clinical centers. And due to this pandemic, we couldn't able to sell it much, where our sales start picking up from October of 2019, and almost till we even in the COVID time, we got in April we got 2 purchase orders as well. So we have other model called RTK Lite, where actually this specifically for the kids, where parents can teach their home as well, extended training to the home as well. So that's been just introduced just after the COVID time, where we can able to, that's actually having only $199 as well, where it's a SaaS model based on the usage they can pay for it. So hardware they can upfront pay for it, so that our sales number of units can be increased. Is that fine, ma'am?
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you, Sathya Narayan.
Thank you.
So moving on, next up we have Alveofit. Alveofit is a connected health company on a mission to make healthcare affordable. They have designed and developed solutions to improve patients' quality of life, reduce the impact of chronic respiratory diseases, and to lower healthcare costs. Dr. Prashant Patel from Alveofit will present the startup solution to our panel of investors. Prashant, over to you. You're on mute.
Thank you, Dipti, and thank you everyone taking us time out and giving an opportunity to talk about Alveofit. From the name itself, we trying to make a smallest unit of lung that we call alveoli, is we want to make it fit. So that's how Alveofit came into the picture. And can I have a presentation, please? Provider in the loop where the respiratory illness is required highest grade of closed monitoring and continuous engagement. So we are on a mission to make healthcare specifically for patients is having a asthma and COPD condition. So we design, still I'm seeing.
Yeah, can you show the slide, please?
Next slide.
No.
If you see this, if you see the problem is pretty vast. The total population is more than 380 million patients suffering with asthma and COPD. And due to COVID is going to be increased by multifold because the COVID is directly impacted whoever has got the COVID infection. And the cost associated to it is pretty high. Next slide, please. In India, we see the impact is again very high. So total 55 million patients suffering with asthma, COPD, and basically this is due to lack of affordable care and the continuous monitoring and engage between the patients and provider. And some part of the awareness among the patient is not that great. Next slide, please.
Prashant, just sorry to interrupt. I don't know if it's just me, but I'm still seeing the email screen of Gayatri.
Yes, same here. We are not seeing the slides and the investors can't see the slides. Okay, much better. Yeah. Prashant, can you start from the first slide again? And can you make that full screen, whoever's the host?
If you see the previous screen,
I'm audible?
Yeah.
We can't see full screen. Now it is on full screen. Hello. Good morning, everyone. We are Alveofit. We are a technology space. We are trying to reduce the chronic obstructive disorder burden from the patients, and we are a connected health company. We have designed a solution to monitor and manage a large patient population in an affordable cost. Next slide, please. So problem is pretty great, and it's widely spread at 380 million patients suffering with asthma and COPD. And due to COVID, it is going to be increased multifold, and it's a third leading cause of death globally. If you see the cost associated to the management of asthma or COPD is again $100 billion in a year. Next slide, please. In India, there are 55 million patients are suffering with asthma and COPD, and primarily is due to lower lung function and lack of affordable care. And we are the highest, second highest population, which is exposed to the smoking, and also the third largest in the world exposure to the pollution. And that is, a contributing factor why we are seeing this number of cases. Next slide. The primary challenges in respiratory care is a cost associated to the treatment. It's 42,000 rupees. It's an average cost to manage asthma COPD. Accessibility, because the patient who are in tier 2, tier 3 cities, they don't have access to the basic diagnostics like we call a spirometer, which generally measure your lung function. Engagement between the physician and provider is lacking here. If they have all these accessibility and they are able to bear the cost, then monitoring is not happening, because the asthma and COPD is the disease where you have to continuously monitor the patient's lung condition and how his medication adherence. And the last point is the awareness. If somebody is having an asthma, they should be aware about at what level of their asthma currently, whether they are a good control, they are moderately controlled, whether they are poor control. So based on that, they can take a decision in terms of managing their asthma. Next slide. So we have designed a complete ecosystem we call Alveofit. Alveofit is having 4 different pillars. Number 1 is a patient-facing app, which is machine learning-driven app, which is gathering the data from our 2 devices, Alveof, which is a handheld, clinically accurate and certified spirometer. It is very similar to like a physician is performing a spirometry on the patients, and Alveodot, which is a small MDI inhaler sensor. We keep a track of patient medication adherence and also keeping a track of at how frequently patient is getting attack, at what time, and what could be the cause of it. So our Alveofit, if patient is using in conjunction these 2 devices, so they can manage their asthma, they are always be aware about what is their asthma control status. And when the patient is complete 45 days of onboarding on Alveofit, our system is start predicting that when patient is supposed to get next asthma attack, what could be the probability of it and what could be the cause. Last solution we have introduced recently, we call AlveoMD. This is, if any patient who are on Alveofit ecosystem and they are the providers wants to manage and monitor, and so this solution comes with the picture. If something is going off the track, so physician can pitch in at the right moment and can change the plan and can tweak the treatment plan quite easily. Next slide. Yes, so this is how we are able to conduct a spirometry test at a very minimal cost. If you saw the high grade clinically established spirometer, which costs 3 lakh rupees, we have then bring down this cost for the physician as a 1/10, and for the patient is generally having one mechanical device that we call peak flow meter. It is not that up to the mark, so they need a more accurate data. They need to understand what is their FE1 and what is the ratio, whether they're having a obstructive kind of asthma or they have a restrictive kind of asthma, and where they are leading, whether the lung function is improving. So they need a constant monitoring. So the Alveof comes into the picture. Next slide. So currently we are targeting patients, clinic and health system where device can be used for self-monitoring, clinics for the care engagement, health system for value-based care delivery. And the future, we are targeting pharma companies for the drug delivery and the outcome analysis, for insurance company risk pool analysis. Based on that, they can underwrite the policies, the data they receive based on where the patient risk is.
and the research bodies in the medication research and the drug discovery. Next slide. Yes, it's an IoT-based solution. It's a low-cost, affordable, and completely continuum of care. That solution is the right fit. It can be part of home care, provider, nursing care, insurance care, health system, and the senior living. And due to the COVID time, since patient is having a the reduced lung function, and they require a continuous a rehabilitation where they can monitor their lung function. They can use our spirometer as an alveolar. They can manage their monitor and manage the lung functions quite easily. And using our incentive spirometry protocol, they can improve their lung function over the period of time. Since if the COVID has happened, so they need 3 to 7 years of rehabilitation to regain that lung function to back to the normal. Next slide, please. We have done our initial research on 375 patients. So we found is we are able to reduce the asthma attack by 36.6%. in just first initial 28 days of our interviewing this particular model. Next slide. This is our team, myself. So I'm primarily a clinical guy, get into the healthcare IT. Devendra is having a vast experience in technology. Sunil is the IoT researcher, and Sashank is again technology. Next slide. So our basic revenue model comes from the direct device sales, MD's, Alveo subscription, Alveo health system integration, insurance licensing, and pharma companies. So currently we are in our last phase of our beta trial, which is expecting to complete mid of January. And from the February, we are ready to go into the mass scale production. Next slide. So currently, as far, we are bootstrapped startup, everything that we have invested from our pocket. And we are 14,000 people team and plenty of research that we have done. Next slide. So my milestone are pretty aggressive. We want to touch, lives of 1 lakh users by March 23. So we went live in June and in December, we are targeting 150 users acquisition, by March 500 plus user acquisition. And we are planning to go into the US FDA market, because we want to go into the US market. It required FDA certification because it's a class 2 medical device. We're targeting next year, September. Next slide. So our basic fund requirement is $500K US. Major part is going to the certifications and product development. Product development, currently this is a very a model which is not ready to go into the mass scale production and mass population, that required injection molding and other tweaks that make a more clean finished product. And we need organization expansion. Currently this is on Android and Android platform. We need to scale it to iOS and web. So we need the funding for that and research and publication, because this is a clinically outcome-based product. So we need to shout out loud to the world, yes, this is the solution, which is the right fit for the patients and the provider, where the continuous care and monitoring is required. Next slide. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions? Feedback?
Yeah, great presentation, Dr. Prashant. I think in a very apt product. Just one question. I saw your fund requirement sheet towards the end. How will that help you scale up? Because it doesn't touch much about scaling up. It picks up about the product development or organizational expansion, but doesn't talk about how you want to scale up or write more business by that.
Yes. So right now we are in trial phase. We are starting our rollout by mid of January, and we are having a 500 plus physician right now, lined up, which is ready to take our devices. And our model is going into 2 different ways. One is the direct device sales, then the device is coming to the physician prescription, and second one is when we are tying up with the insurance company. We are in talks with a very leading insurance provider in India, so we are soon to close that deal. But before going that, we need one finished product in the market, and we should have a scalable model so maximum people can utilize. So we need an initial funding to make that product finish to the market, and we have a roadmap to scale to the large masses. Does this answer your question?
Jesse, Amit. Anyone else have a question?
So Amit lost connectivity for some reason. He's waiting for somebody to let him in. I think so. I think the bigger question again, because from the US side, the product obviously again my same question to you: if there is a FDA clearance, and it seems like your product is very evidence driven. So are you planning to have are you collecting your evidence data, which you will be able to kind of showcase as to how your product is very effective? Because I think that will be
Yes, absolutely.
important. There'll be important use case you will be required to demonstrate the efficiency of the project. Another thing you mentioned about insurance, one of the bigger challenges here is that is your product, in the US, the challenge is going to be making sure that it is reimbursable. Like if your product is under their, device reimbursement plan, or if not, then you will have a bigger uphill battle to fight. So I think, is your product like there is some kind of a insurance or CPT code you guys have identified, so you can probably push the product into US market easily?
Yes, exactly. Jesse, for the Indian market, currently, there are many changes happen in Indian market as well, where this product is coming into your continuous monitoring and within a wearable segment, and this product is going to be reimbursed by the Indian, IRDA so very soon, because few of the trials going on in couple of months, those wearables is becoming a part of your reimbursable product. From the US perspective, yes, this is associated to the CPT and the SOMAT coding scheme specific to the asthma and the management of the asthma. So against that, this product is completely going to be reimbursed by the, if we are going to the US market. But before going to the US market, we want to test out for coming 6 months in Indian market, generate a significant evidence like we have done in our initial trial. We have done on 375 patients within the interventions group and a control group. So yes, this product is effective, and we want to collect the data over the period of time so we can present as evidence for the FDA approvals. Does this answer your question?
Yes, it does. And I think just to add to that, normally the way things work is that FDA clearance kind of becomes a global determinant as to which products will be used even in India or South America.
Absolutely. Right.
So I think what happens is normally when you collect clinical data, like your evidence for your particular product, when you come to the US, they would want the data from here.
Exactly.
And that's a challenge you will have to go through. But again, small stepping stones for you, but something which you will have to probably maybe do quicker than later.
Right. Thank you, Jess.
Looks like we have Amit back again. Amit, I don't know when you were out of the room and back in, do you have a question?
Dipti, I unfortunately completely missed Prashant, so I'll hold off. Sorry about this.
No worries.
No.
Thanks, Prashant, for your presentation. So in the interest of time, we're going to move on to the next one. The next presentation we have is from Dr. Prax. Dr. Prax helps doctors provide collaborative healthcare by easily integrating multidisciplinary and supportive care services required for managing chronic and long-term conditions. Their customers are doctors that identify these conditions and initiate care while collaborating with all the healthcare providers that will be involved in the complete treatment plan. They believe that a seamless, connected experience for patients will lead to better treatment, adherence, and enhanced health outcomes. Vinita Navadgi from Dr. Prax will present their startup solutions now. Vinita, over to you.
Hello. Hello, everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to present Dr. Prax. My name is Vinita Navadgi, and I'm the founder. I come with 20 plus years of experience in the technology space, and I worked on gamification and digital transformation initiatives with healthcare organizations in the past, such as Louisiana Public Health Institute, Dr. Reddy's, Agilent, so on and so forth, and closer home with Dr. Reddy's. So I would be happy to present Dr. Prax to you. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Can I have my slide deck? Dr. Prax empowers healthcare providers to collaborate with each other and treat their patient from anywhere globally. Next slide. My journey with Dr. Prax emerged from a personal need when a very close relative went through complications due to a chronic disorder. One of the biggest challenges we faced as a family was collaborating with all the healthcare providers. And as I looked deeper, I realized that this situation was prevalent with many healthcare scenarios today. Next slide. Typically, when you see a patient is treated based on the symptoms and the reports shared by the patient during that visit, it does not take into considerations patient's past history or treatment provided by the other healthcare providers. Can you click? For a more holistic approach, continuous engagement with long-term relationship management, along with timely involvement of specialists and affiliate services would be required. And continuous monitoring will ensure that the treatment is progressing in the desired direction. This future care model can be enabled by, can be achieved by leveraging the light technology solutions. And this is where Dr. Prax comes in. Can you please move on to the next slide? So Dr. Prax provides a robust platform for communication and personalized services under a strict regulatory compliant framework. Doctors can involve specialists and collaborate with them while optimizing their time without compromising on the patient trust and safety. So it is a continuous engagement platform. Please move on to the next slide. So today, doctors, the assistants and patients can use Dr. Prax on mobile and web for practice management and remote teleconsultations over audio, video, and chat. Patient health records are available at all times. And this always connected experience creates a sense of relationship, long-term engagement, and trust with the patient, which is what we are focused on. Please move on to the next slide. So while our continuous engagement platform is being actively used by doctors, we are now focused on the collaborative personalized care framework and components, which will offer multidisciplinary care with referrals and affiliate services. Personalization and gamification will offer deeper engagement with the patients, and health device connectivity along with insights will allow us to offer recommendations to our doctors so that they can proactively revise the treatment plans for better health outcomes. This collaborative personalized care is what differentiates us from some of our competitors. Please move on. Next slide. So we launched our product in March 2019 and spent major part of last year in validating the continuous engagement need. Today, we are proud to say that we have over 900 doctors actively using our platform, and our active doctors see 30% of their patients re-engaging with them on the platform for repeat consultations. So a strong attestament of our success is a data partnership that we signed with a leading healthcare research and data organization. It is a global MNC with the largest life science presence in India. And they selected us after evaluating 10 different health tech platforms. Moving on, please. Next slide. Our revenue model is simple. We basically charge our doctors and data science partners on an annual subscription fee and a percentage of consultation fees to our doctors and patients. Next slide. So with our multidisciplinary approach, we hope to serve over 2 million healthcare practitioners in India, which will include alternative medicines, affiliate services, life coaches, and so on and so forth. That opens us up to a market of $5.5 billion in India alone. And globally, obviously, the numbers will be much higher. Can we move on to the next slide? Our go-to-market strategy focuses on social media campaigns and webinars for lead generation. For bulk doctor acquisition, we have tie-ups with local and specialty-based doctor associations, and of course, our partnerships with research and pharma companies. For bulk patient acquisition, we are working, in fact, we have tied up with a pharmaceutical chain for physical Dr. Prax kiosks that we will set up in tier 3 and tier 4 cities that will help us serve these patients to access specialist doctors in urban areas. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So we are looking for funding and advisory for scaling our business. Most of the funding will be used in building our sales and marketing team and for building the multidisciplinary collaborative care components along with gamification and artificial intelligence. Next slide. I would like to close with our strongest asset, which is our team. We are a passionate team of technologists, business, and domain experts that have, focused and stayed committed to Dr. Prax from day one. Thank you so much. I'm sorry if I have spilled over on my time. I'm open for questions now. And apologies for, I think, some of the slides, when I shared it, some of the fonts and the formatting has changed. So on my slide deck, it didn't appear like that. So please excuse the same. Thank you so much. Next slide.
Thank you, Vinita. That was good. So while we wait for the panel to show up, very interesting. I know that's always a challenge to get in customers and to get in doctors to use the app. And what kind of stickiness do you see when either the doctors or the patients are using your app? Are there any blockages that you see, or are there areas where you're seeing a lot of traction?
Yes, so typically we are working on the continuous engagement model. So we have the practice management solution along with remote consultation, which pushes with for the stickiness, because the patient gets engaged with the platform to kind of manage their appointments with the doctors. So they engage with the doctor. We have engagement components so that patients keep coming back for either it is follow-ups with the doctors. Second thing is in case they need to consult the doctor remotely, which happens with chronic cases, they can do so very easily through the platform. One of the biggest, focus areas for us has been ensuring simplicity of use. So in terms of for the doctor as well as the patient, there's no learning. They can just download the app and start using it. We're focused on ensuring that it is simple and not cumbersome to use our platform. And as I mentioned, we are seeing that the active doctors are seeing 30% of their patients consulting them remotely on the platform for repeat consultation. So that's the engagement and stickiness that we are pushing and hoping for. And that's what. Did I answer your question, ma'am?
Yeah, no, I agree. And especially during COVID, when there's not as much physical contact, if you can continuously engage with your patients, it always helps. And I guess that's where the world is going, right? We used to have physicians coming to our home and taking care of us, and then we built hospitals, and then we went to them. And now we are seeing this reverse trend again. So it's
absolutely,
you're part of it. Anybody else have a question or comment?
Hey, Vinita.
Hello, Jesse.
Hey, so I have a few questions for you.
Absolutely.
Who are your top competitors in the space right now?
So can you please share the next slide, Geetanjali? In my deck, after the thank you, there's one slide which talks about competitors. So obviously this is a very, very crowded space. Especially now after COVID, a lot of healthcare startups have emerged. I think we had a headway because we started 2 years ago. As I said, it started based on a personal need. And a lot of competitors in India like Practo, Librate, Mfine, they are more focused on serving patients. They're focused on symptomatic one-time care, whereas our focus is more on reaching out to practitioners and deeper engagement and collaboration across practitioners to serve the patient. So our approach is a little different. And also in terms of the care that we are looking for, we are looking at long-term engagement versus symptomatic one-time care. Did I answer your question?
Yes, it did actually. I was just, again, my question was the competitors, but yeah, obviously you answered the USP, which is actually what I was coming to next anyway. So,
Okay.
so you
There
have
is a
the
lot of, yes.
So you have engagement with the physicians being your primary USP versus Practo or, those others which are doing appointment-based encounters.
Correct.
Yours more like a regular encounter, like a relationship model.
Absolutely. And typically what you see is for long-term care scenarios, or even in terms of chronic care, a patient will not go to a platform and find a doctor. They will want to go to their primary care provider and engage with specialists that are recommended by that care provider. It is a trust-based relationship that we focus on, so that the patient gets the care with all the services as well as care providers that they need.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
So Vinita, how do you plan to scale up?
So as I mentioned, we are, we are looking at, obviously feet on the street is a standard, protocol that a lot of, health tech platforms are focusing on. While that may be one part of our approach, our major focus is in tie-ups with associations and, pharma companies, research companies, analytic companies that are looking to gather data from these providers for their research, and they bring in the additional doctors that we need to scale on our platform as well. The other area that we are looking for scaling is we have a tie-up with a generic pharma provider, pharmacy chain for tier 3, tier 4 cities, and we are setting up kiosks in these chains where a GP or a general practitioner will practice and rope in the specialist as and when required for serving the patients. So that will also help us scale among the patients and create a branding for us in these areas which do not have access to specialists as required.
Vinita, just I'll just repeat the question. So one, of course, you said that you want to tie up with a pharmaceutical company or a pharma seller for category 3 and category 4 cities. But I'm still not clear. The person comes there to buy the medicine. It's not the doctor who comes there. So how would the doctor really involve?
So for us to scale, we obviously have to kind of bring in the healthcare providers and the patients. For the healthcare providers, our primary focus is tie-ups with research and pharma companies who need to onboard their doctors on a platform such as ours for their practice management as well as data collection. So with our tie-ups, and we already have a tie-up with a leading research firm in India for onboarding their doctors on our platform. We are also in discussion with another data research analytics company. It is actually a technology company who is serving an analytical, AI powered solution for them, but they need the data and for their customer. And for this customer, we will provide the practice management platform to gather the data. So our focus is not on going to individual doctors, but in working with associations, specialty or local doctor associations, or research companies or analytic companies that want the data from these providers. So we provide the solution to the providers through these organizations. That helps us scale faster and quicker.
Thanks, Vinita. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, and we are based out of Pune, so I would love to catch up with you too.
So in the US, if we try to ask the doctor to change their workflows, nobody likes to change their workflows. You're trying to ask them to change their workflows here. What kind of resistance do you anticipate, or are you getting from the medical community for that? Or are they all receptive and open to making these changes?
No, it's a classic problem all over the world, right? Everybody likes to do things the way they did. Thankfully, I would say that COVID has changed the situation, and people are more receptive to change, more acceptable to technology. And we have seen a huge uptake because of some of these changes in behaviors. And our focus also has been in ensuring that they don't need to change too much of their workflows. Rather, we have worked with a lot of doctors, actually sat in doctors' offices to understand their workflows, to see how they operate, so that we can, very easily and organically embed our solution in their workflows. So, they should definitely see a benefit using our solution rather than we telling them that, use a solution that will benefit you. So it's been a push and a pull both that has worked for us with COVID and us trying to fit our solution to meet their needs. So it's the same across the world, and we hope to, close the gap. We will do it.
Sure. Amit, do you have a question?
No, Vinita, thanks for this. And, of course, I've seen your platform. It's fantastic. So congratulations.
Thank you so much, Amit.
Yeah. The only thing I would want to share as you're going about your fundraising effort is maybe you would like to probably be very clear about how you want to position your pitch, given that this place is so crowded now, right? And, this whole, telemedicine EMR piece actually has to some extent become also passé. And people are questioning whether are you providing a product or are you providing a platform or a service, right? And maybe you want to think a little bit about that because you've got a great product. But the issue is now becoming that the grass is getting cut, right? So more and more people have come in, they've built out. So it's a share grab that is going on. Now, if you have a share grab, then you have to raise quite a lot and literally deploy it at throwaway. Now, is that a clear strategy, or do you want to really differentiate yourself in a particular area and integrate workflows? Other last only point I would want to share is, I think I didn't hear anything on the insurance side from you, and maybe you want to think a little bit about that as the Indian is also evolving. Given that you have a good product and a great team, I think that's somewhere you may want to just think on how you want to sharpen your pitch.
Sure. I'll definitely focus on that, Amit. We'll connect with you later as well to kind of get your inputs and see how we can streamline ourselves. But in order to kind of obviously swerve ourselves in a more definitive direction, that is where we are focused on the collaborative care and multidisciplinary approach with referrals. We have those workflows designed to kind of build that into the platform. And that's where I believe that we will be able to kind of differentiate ourselves from a product perspective. But I do get your point that from a positioning perspective, we will work towards that. Thank you for your inputs.
Thank you, Vinita.
Thank you, Dipti.
So next up, I know we still have 2 more startups to go with, so we should carry on. Next up, we have Fitello. Fitello is an online fitness app that provides clients an easy way to lose weight, get fit, and have an overall well-being. I think we all need it. They provide customized weight loss and disease management diet plans. They work on building long-term habits and help their clients get into a healthy lifestyle. Sahil from Fitello will present their startup solution to our panel of investors. Sahil, over to you.
Thank you. Hi all. Good morning, good evening. I'm Sahil and I am one of the co-founders of Fitello. Can I have the slide deck up, please? So while the slide deck comes up, Fitello is the easiest way to get fit. We provide customized weight management, disease management, and lifestyle management plans to our clients. Can you go to the next slide, please? Staying fit today is hard. It requires you to eat clean, have those fitness trackers, those meditation apps, and whatnot. So you are actually required to do a lot when if you want to stay fit. If you are off track, you can easily put on not just weight, but get exposed to lifestyle diseases. And we've seen an increasing trend in these kind of diseases. So there is, if the problem is increasing, I would say, diseases, so the people are not really motivated to follow healthy diets or a healthy lifestyle. But with our solution, we say we are the easiest way to get fit, and we create customized diet, exercise, and wellness plan for our clients. The plans are easy, they're natural, they're completely online. And how we are able to do is we combined concepts of behavioral psychology, and on the technology side, we are leveraging concepts of machine learning to be able to just do that. Can you move on to the next slide, please? So our wellness plans are easy to follow. And the way we do it, we will try to understand your lifestyle, the client's lifestyle, and a lifestyle can constitute of multiple things. It includes how you eat, how stressed you are, what is your physical activity, how are your social gatherings, and there is what are your medical conditions. There's a long list of items that constitute to a lifestyle. We try to understand your lifestyle, and we also know we cannot change it drastically. So what we do is we try to bring in we try to make small adjustments to your lifestyle, and you follow it. The clients don't feel that they are changing a lot. They find it easy to follow. They are natural. They don't have to go anywhere. They are extremely customized and personalized. What that leads to is these small changes then leads to habit building and our clients getting into a healthier lifestyle. So while our clients can enjoy eating their favorite paratha or a pancake, at the same time, they can start moving towards a healthy lifestyle. Can you move on to the next slide, please? So the way we work is we have a team of 35 plus dietitians and nutritionists, and we have created a ton of diet sets based on various lifestyle parameters. As I said, it includes a lot of things: body type, fat type, stress, routines, etc. And now the platform has a lot of information. Once we will speak to a client, once our dietitian talks to a client, they will try to understand what the client's lifestyle is, and then the system will try to suggest diets that slowly modify the lifestyle of the client. So the core concept is at the moment the system is suggesting what diet plans or wellness plan is best suited for a client, and slowly if they follow it, if they don't feel a lot of burden to follow these plans, they will slowly start seeing results. And when they start seeing results, they get more motivated to follow it more. And as week progresses, as the clients go through our process, these little changes add up and they give good results. So we are currently at 20% automation, but we have now we've started to ingest the clients' results based on the diets that the system is suggesting. So what that will help us to do is, once we start seeing this kind of a plan on this kind of a lifestyle gave this kind of a result, now eventually the system is learning these things, and after a year we will be at a situation where the system will be accurately able to predict that based on the data that we've seen, based on these new input parameters of a new client, this kind of plans should work the most for them. So that is our core concept, and we are constantly the team of dietitians that we have. I think that is our single biggest USP. They have all of them have a minimum of three to 5 years of education in the field of food and nutrition, and then they work with hospitals and diet clinics, and they've been trained by us. Can you move on to the next slide, please? Coming on to the business model, it's a subscription-based business model. So plans, our monthly plans start from 3,000, and the plans go up to a 50,000 annual plan, and it falls into various categories. So as soon as a client purchases a plan, a personal dietitian is aligned to them, who will try to understand the lifestyle of the client, do a dietary recall or a lifestyle recall, as we said, and then they will create a customized wellness plan for them. And then the platform, the app allows easy tracking of parameters, and the app will keep on nudging users to move towards a healthy lifestyle. Can you move on to the next slide, please? Coming on to the traction, so we started last year in March, and we've seen a great feedback on social media. People really are liking us, and we believe the reason is because they don't see a lot of changes happening in their lifestyle, and they are seeing the results. So I feel that is what has given us that edge, that push. On the Facebook platforms, we have around 3 lakh followers between Facebook and Instagram. We have 25,000 app downloads, and we are rated 5-star on Facebook and Google. So we are getting some good traction. Next slide, please. In terms of numbers, continuing with the traction, if you can go to the next slide, please. Okay. So we started off in March last year, and we were 3 people in the team. The team size currently, it says 46, but last week we hired 4 more people, and we are a 50 people strong team now. We have 38 dietitians, highly qualified dietitians and nutritionists, I would say, who are helping us continuously improve this system. And we are at a stage where we want to invest more in technology to be able to achieve that stage faster. So that is where we are. In terms of revenues, we are projecting a revenue of 6 CR this year. We run at gross margins of 62%. Our customers are really liking us as say our stories and results and reviews on Google and other platforms. We are debt free. We are fully owned by the founders. So in terms of the founders, we are 2 founders. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay. So before I come on to the founders, this is how our future roadmap looks like. The platform is allowing some automation. By the end of next year, we anticipate it to be 50%. Although we are seeing 90% automation in the next 2 years, where we have a lot of data from, I would say, the output, but we want this process to be faster. And that is where we are looking out for help in terms of technology, where we can build this automation faster, because we've tested the concept and people are really liking this concept. And we want to constantly add new features to the platform. We have already started looking at newer sales channels. Currently, a lot of it is through social media and Google, of course. But we are starting to look out for new channels and new service lines. Can you go to the next slide, please? Here's the team. So it's me and my co-founder, Mehakdeep Singh. So we started this last year as a brand in March, and the team has really grown to 50 right now, which is, I would say, the single biggest achievement for us. That's it. I'm open to questions.
Thank you, Sahib. Thank you. A very crowded market. And how do you plan to stay ahead of the curve? How do you plan to stay away from the competition? Where do you see yourself differentiating yourself from the competitors?
Okay. So what we've seen is there are a lot of players in the market, and to stay fit today, you have to put in effort, whether it is joining a gym or following a fad diet or using an app constantly. So everything, or maybe even taking a supplement or medicine, everything requires a change in lifestyle, a significant change. And a significant change, people are really busy in their lives these days. They're not, after a while, they're not really motivated to keep going. So if you can understand what their lifestyle is, and if you can suggest small changes, that is where I believe you can start pushing them to a healthier lifestyle. And with what COVID has done is, people are now more conscious of their health. They want to stay healthy. They want to understand more. They want to learn more about themselves. They want to know how they can stay healthy. So in this crowded space, I think it has helped us to, with this, I would say the close engagement that we have with our clients, it has helped us to make them learn about lifestyle and how they can, by taking these small steps, they can keep moving forward.
Yeah,
Acquisition model.
Sorry, go ahead, Amit.
Yeah, sorry. What is your customer acquisition model, Sachin?
Okay. Okay, so we have a huge presence on social media, and we interact a lot with our potential clients there. For example, on Facebook platforms, Facebook and Instagram, we have about 3 lakh followers, and we are seeing a lot of traction from there. Then we do Google as well. We get a lot of traffic on our website. From there, we generate queries. Now we are tying up with doctors and specialists who can, we are trying to partner with them. And because a lot of these lifestyle diseases, whether it is PCOD, thyroid, diabetes, you name it, a lot of these diseases require a person to lose weight or get fit as well. And the doctor will suggest medicines, but that's it. So they don't know, and they would say you have to do these things, but we help them. We help our clients follow that journey and stay on that journey.
Jesse, please go ahead.
Sahil, I have a question for you. Based on the feedback you received from your customers, and I believe your model is a B2C model, correct? If I'm correct.
Yes.
So based on the customer feedback, what is the best thing they like about your app?
Okay.
Or your platform in general?
The best thing that we've heard time and again is they don't feel like they're following a specialized plan. It just feels natural to them. We just fit into their lifestyle.
Is it because as a result of your personalized plan, which is driven by your dietitians?
Yes. So I'll just take a very small example. If you are a paratha lover, I'll not ask you to leave paratha. I'll ask you to make minor adjustments to that paratha, but I'll not ask you to leave it.
Okay, because I saw in one of your slides, you mentioned automation and you wanted to get to 90% automation. Is that moving away from your USP?
So not really. So currently the automation will help our nutritionists and dietitians to plan even more efficient diets, but the interaction and the personalization, the personal touch will always be there.
Okay, so that's basically one of the most important driving factors of your platform is your concierge service, which is with your dietitians and the customer's relationship.
Yes.
Which is, I think, the USP here. And I think automation is primarily for your own margins, improving your margins.
More than margins, it'll help. Obviously, it is margins. It will help me be more efficient. It will help my dietitians to learn from the system. And then, so there are multiple purposes that it will serve.
Okay.
So, like we have only 10 more minutes remaining on our clock, and we have one more startup to go to. So thank you, Fitello and Sahil for that presentation and question and answers. The next startup we have is Versante. Versante Technologies is an American healthcare and IT company that has developed an algorithm for EKG, ECG analysis and scanning services using neural networks and pattern recognition. The algorithm delivers high accuracy for the diagnosis of heart diseases and arrhythmia. Kenny from Versante will present their startup solution to our panel of investors. So Kenny, can you get started and can we have the slides, please?
Thanks, Dipti. Thanks for the opportunity. Gayatri, or whoever is, could you please project my slides? I think there's been a little confusion because of the format changes in the slides. Would you be able to give my, can you show my slides, please? Yes. Okay, I think this should be okay. All right, can the next slide? Next slide. Next. Yeah. So personally, I've been in the healthcare IT for over 20 years, and I've been into EMR application development, testing, integration with various EMR, e-prescription, pharmacy, radiology, etc. This product has been developed over a period of 6 years now. Being in business in India, the Indian business is in 4 years. It's headquartered in Hyderabad. Parent company is in Dallas, Texas. Project funded by USA and a core business in healthcare IT. Next slide, please. Yeah, the opportunity is huge. Facts first in chart is like 31% of the global deaths happen in CVDs. And there's a huge demand for people to find about atrial fibrillation. AFib is a big market. And there are various devices that have been in the industry for a long period in time. Now we have newer devices and lots of newer manufacturers with smaller footprints and changes in their hardware. So that's where we are focused on. To emphasize the need, India registers 1 every 6 seconds, and America registers 4 deaths caused by CVD. Next slide, please. The problem here is that cardiovascular diseases have been increased in, there has been a subsequent increase in the cardiac CVD diseases. The need for early detection has always been a priority, reduced hospitalization. So the emphasis has been more on physiological, because people look at a 12-lead ECG, which registers a physiological change, but not really do a morphological study. So the technology adoption has been pretty insignificant in the past, because algorithms used in the past, probably there was no pattern recognition, there was no artificial intelligence. So the algorithms, even for an FDA perspective approved, only 2 companies originate with artificial intelligence in the past two years. So the use of adoption of technology using pattern recognition, perceptrons, and ability to read an ECG has been the need of the hour, because we don't have enough people to read a cardiology. I mean, most people cannot read an ECG study. So emphasis also has been shifting to ECG reads for a technician, and a technician is a human intervention and depends on a knowledge how to interpret an ECG. So the USP for the whole product is the efficacy, the efficiency of the algorithm, and also produce automated reports for easy understanding. If the sensitivity and the specificity of the algorithm are high, there's minimal need of a trained technician to actually review. Next slide, please. So the early detection of heart disease, the product is basically upload the recording from a device to the cloud. Cloud does the analysis and interpretation, and we generate an automated report with a manual option to edit. So, and the whole thing is device agnosticity. It can also do a remote ECG monitoring. It is cloud-based, and it can handle both streaming as well as recorded data. Next, please. I'm sorry, the slides have cut off because of the format changes. So basically, we have integrated our devices with the world's best manufacturers. That includes, biotelemetry uses some of the devices which have been acquired by Delta. Boston Scientific, BTM, Preventis, they are the largest in the US company. For example, Preventis in USA does 1 billion reads almost a year. So that's the market that we're kind of addressing. So the atrial fibrillation here is also over 98%. The product is ready and ready for an FDA or a CE approval. We are only targeting UAE, Europe, and US markets. It's a class 2 per se. Next slide, please. Yeah, again, I'm sorry, the slide has cut off because of the ECG device can acquire, because it's a device agnosticity. Various manufacturers have various file formats. We have integrated the device with the algorithm and the solution that fits different file formats. Some of them are proprietary, some of them are industry standard. For example, SCP ECG, EDF, EFS, ISHNI, ISHNE are all different formats. We integrated all these different formats into the solution, and the algorithm can actually read text. Next slide, please. Sorry, the slide has gone back. I will just read it because of the formatting change. The key takeaways here is automated analysis and interpretation of physiological and morphological reads. Device agnosticity, it can have a solution for different devices. It can also be used for remote monitoring of ECG, because the trend in the market has been from a 12-lead ECG to a patch, which is a 2-lead or a 3-lead, to multi-lead, which can read and stream the data. So it can also get to alerts, and we can also register alerts. So the transition is patches and MCT, mobile cardiotelemetry, which is the highest reimbursement rate in US of about $800 for study. And we can also use this algorithm in embedded systems because the footprint is so small. We have not used any libraries. It is all developed using C++. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is option to analyze. I mean, the main feature is high efficiency of the algorithm and auto-generated reports. If the accuracy is being high and you can generate an auto-generated report, I think that's the USP that we currently have. We are actually, there are lots of people, IDTS, who are actually evaluating the product as we speak. Next slide, please. The market segments that we have: hospitals, physician practices, rural healthcare centers, government sector are large. IDTF is an emerging market because hospitals are all now pushing the ECG studies to an independent device test facility in US. So if you look at there has been mushroom growth in IDTFs, and the company also plans to have an IDTF center in future that will actually increase the revenues in addition to use this cloud as a SaaS model. Next slide, please. This was a very important slide, actually. I don't know how it's not come up. Our major competitors in the industry are only two. Right now, there's a company by name Cardiologs, which has been funded about $23 million. The other competitor that we have is a company called Bioformus, which has been funded about $35 million. It's a Series B funded on May 21st, 2019. You can check the Crunchbase for these details. So next slide, please. Oh, sorry, here it's come. Okay. So these are the major competitors, Cardiologs and CD. We have only two competitors as on in the global market that includes Europe as well as US and UAE. None are there available at this time. There's another company that is just coming up. It is called Cardiomatics. I guess it's applied for an FDA approval. It could be 2 or 3 max. Next slide, please. So this is the business model. It's a SaaS model, cloud-based, device agnostic. It follows the regular US standards: prescription, enrollment of a patient, analysis on the cloud, generate an automated report with a manual intervention with an ECG technician, and it goes for billing and payment. Next slide, please. Very small size team, but I've been helped by my family most. My wife's physician, and my daughter is doing her fellowship in cardiology. Raja is one of our key persons in terms of developing the algorithm. He has an IES and is top, and he's into artificial intelligence. And myself, I've been in the industry for over 20 years. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
These are the funds utilization, basically used for FDA and CA clearances and some kind of plant certifications and expansion into overseas market. Next slide, please. USP for the investment: algorithm development is complete, millions invested, self-funded, low risk, benchmarked against manufacturers' test data with FDA approvals. For an FDA approval, we are ready. Reason is we have taken the annotated results from the manufacturer's device data, which they went for an FDA approval, and benchmark that with our algorithm. So after reading that, we have come up with the sensitivity and the specificity to be highest. So the return on investment is lower and the faster build of equity. Next slide, please. These are the MIT results. We also tested against MIT databases. Next slide.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kenny. Thank you for that presentation. I know we're really running out of time and the next session is already starting and they want us to go. And I know all of us have questions for you, but we will reach out to you privately and go on with the questions outside of this session. So thank you everyone for listening to us. Thank you for the presenters, the startups, the investors, and Illumina for having made this session successful. Thank you.